Hello, my pack, my tribe. Welcome to Howling After Dark. So give me 1 second. And get right into it. Hold on, folks. There we go. Okay, so sorry about that. Tonight's show is called Damage Incorporated. Basically, what it's about is what damage has been done by paranormal TV shows, YouTube series, even podcasts, when it concerns the paranormal. Some might say none, some might say a lot. I'm kind of middle road, I guess you could say. But the damage I know has been done hasn't been facetious. It's not malicious. There's no malicious intent there with these paranormal TV shows. Really what it was is they were going for ratings. Some might say that that's the fault of the producers. Some might say that that's the fault of the audience. I kind of think it's both. Here, let me explain like this. So, with few exceptions, most paranormal TV shows have colored the paranormal in a very dark lens. They have provoked. Which, if you've heard me before, you know how I'm against that. But I'll kind of recap that real quick. I don't believe in provoking. I don't agree with it. I don't think anybody should do it. And nobody will do it on any of my hunts. Okay? Reason being is very simple. If it's not the way that you would treat somebody in their own home, don't do it. That's simple. Basic golden rule. Right? And also, you catch more flies with honey. Simple as that. And I've gotten groundbreaking evidence over the years. All right, so, but that's a topic for another show. Anyways, so back to what I was saying. So, with few exceptions, most of these shows that you see, provoke or color these things in a negative light, and that's not always true. The biggest one is, oh, shadow people. Shadow people are negative. They're evil. They otherwise harmless, but they always have a negative feeling or whatever. And none of that is true necessarily. Okay, let me explain. So I see them. So I see them shift forms like a lot of the time. And a shadow person is just another one of their forms. As far as I can tell, and this is just me talking, everybody's got a right to believe whatever they want, but it's not about that. Anyways, so I've seen full blown apparitions become shadow people, and as far as I can tell, it's because being a shadow doesn't take as much energy as, say, being a fully detailed, fully there apparition. So, uh, but it's neither here nor there. The whole point is imagine, if you will, you're just you. You know, you're going about your life, or unlife, I guess you could say in this instance, and somebody comes up to you and just starts accusing you of being evil and starts yelling at you in your own home. It's not going to take a lot of times of that happening for you to say, okay, I don't want to talk to any of these people anymore. Right? That's essentially what provoking and all this, oh, well, it's all negative aspect does. It's alienating spirits that would otherwise be willing to communicate with you, because you're just going in there jumping to the conclusion right off the bat that it's something negative, and it's not. Most of the time it's not. All right, so it's about how we treat them, number one. So there's that damage. All right, the damage of coloring everything in dark light, I guess you could say. The other type of damage that I mean, there's an argument for either way. Is, have these shows damaged the legitimacy of what we do as paranormal investigators? Sometimes I think they do. I don't think they do it necessarily intentionally, but I've seen it happen. Where like the reaction you get when you. I'm very proud of being a paranormal investigator. I talk about it openly. I talk about it at work, for Christ's sake. But I have had those reactions like, oh, you're one of those people kind of reaction. Like, they don't necessarily say that, but it's that type of reaction, that type of response. Like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever, buddy, kind of thing. And part of that is because a lot of people are skeptical or closed minded. And I'm not going to get into that whole thing again. But part of it's also because they've had their opinions swayed by all this shit coming out about people in our community, and about, oh, well, that's not legit, or this is legit, or but they didn't treat people very well, or that kind of thing, which I guess curtails into what I've said before about being careful about what we say and what we do. But this is coming from shows, and here's the thing: anybody that's watched the news and thought even for an instant, oh, well, that's absolutely true because it was on the news, knows what I'm talking about. Because instinctively people not everybody, but people in general see something, they watch something, and they instinctively kind of believe it. So with all these shows saying, well, it was this or that or the other thing, like, oh, it's this child spirit, but it's not really a child. It's just a demon pretending to be a child. Yeah, they can do that. Doesn't mean that all children's spirits that you come across are demons. Sorry, Zach Bagans. Not true. And don't get me wrong, I love Zach. I love that show. I love Ghost Adventures. I've watched every season. But he went through that whole stint. What was it, like a or 1 or 2 seasons ago, where every child spirit he would come across is instantly in his mind a demon hiding as a child. No, sorry, that's not necessarily true. Here's an idea, okay? Investigate before you say shit, especially if you're putting it out there in any way, shape, or form. Even if you're just a YouTuber putting shit out there, do your due diligence. Investigate shit before you say it's good or evil or whatever. Boy, girl, blue, white, doesn't matter. Whatever you're saying, make sure that you've got, you know, evidence to back it up. Don't just go. And here's the thing too, don't go into anything, any haunted location anywhere, with preconceived notions, because that is not scientific, number one. And number two, in the paranormal, you kind of find what you're looking for. So if you're going into it thinking you're going to find all this negative, evil bullshit, guess what? That's probably what you're going to find. If you go into open minded, the dark, negative, evil shit is actually very, very rare. I've investigated for over 30 years. I can count on one hand how many times, just going on an investigation, mind you, not like house cleansings or whatnot, but just going on an investigation, I can count on one hand how many times I've actually come across something evil without looking for it. And I'm not saying I'm the end all be all of the paranormal field. I think I have insight into things that most people don't. I've never met a clairvoyant that's honestly at my level. I've met some that were close that could see them, but to see the details that I see, to see not only ghosts but every other kind of spirit too. As far as I know, I'm the only one. So you can take that as gospel, or you can take it with a grain of salt. But regardless, point is don't necessarily believe it just because you saw it on TV or on YouTube. Investigate it yourself. Check these things out for yourself. Because unless you're willing to check things out for yourself, sorry, you're sheep following the herd. Because I mean, that's what I did. I saw these things and I wanted to know more about them. So I became an investigator because I wanted to know more about them. And then when I did come across something negative, I decided that, I was going to find out and learn how to, as a medicine man, cleanse a home. And I've done over 500 of those to date without ever having to do a callback. The one exception would be there was one case that I'm not going to say names, but uh, we are fairly certain that the reason why whatever it was came back was because it was kind of being invited in. And at that point, there's really not a lot that can be done about it. Just the sad truth. Because if somebody's inviting it in, I mean, I could cleanse that house over and over and over again. It's still going to keep coming back because it's being invited in. It's like the vampire thing, kind of like because ownership is everything. If you invite something in, it's going to keep coming back, and there's nothing anybody can do because you're inviting it in, whether you even realize it or not. A lot of the time, and that's sad, but that's the truth. There's been a lot of situations where that I've come across where uh, somebody was inviting it in and didn't even realize that they were doing it because they were just being too open to everything. And you can't do that. But anyways, I'm straying off the point. So a lot of this is because, like on YouTube, people what are people after? Views. They're after subscribers, and it's not all that different on TV. They're looking for ratings, which equates to how many people are watching. So they're going to do whatever they need to do to spark interest. And while that might be great for entertainment value, it isn't necessarily great for the paranormal in their environment. Because like I said before, if you're just minding your own business, if some guy comes up and starts yelling at you, telling you you're an evil piece of shit, you're not really going to want to talk to those people ever again. And so everybody kind of gets labeled under that brush because one guy looking for ratings decided to provoke, to be kind of an asshole to you. Or some YouTubers ruined your whole reputation because you showed yourself as a shadow figure. Now everybody thinks you're evil. That kind of thing. And it's sad. I mean, I understand and I sympathize with them in that way because I've been accused of things that weren't true before. And it would come out, that it wasn't true, but, I had to suffer with those accusations for a little bit. And that sucks. And it makes me not want to associate with certain types of people because of that history. And it's no different for them. Like none of us, living or dead, wants to be accused of shit we aren't guilty of. We don't want to be judged based on somebody else's misconception. Nobody wants that. Living, dead, in between doesn't matter. Nobody wants that. So just think about that, If it's not how you would want to be treated, don't fucking do it. It's the golden rule. Hold on. my phone keeps buzzing at me because I'm getting all these notifications and stuff on my phone, and it drives me insane. Thought maybe it was something important, but nope, nope, not important at all. Anyhow, so if you've ever heard me do like an EVP session, like I've had my live EVP shows and stuff, if you've ever heard me do those, then you know that I don't have preconceived notions about individuals. Like, I may go into it having an idea that, a certain person is with me, but that's about as preconceived as I get. I don't go into it thinking, well, Bob's here, but Bob's an asshole. Or, and the flip side of that too. I don't go into it just assuming that somebody's a good person just because they're talking or whatever. Point is keep an open mind. Don't just believe things that you see on YouTube and TV and stuff, because it's not always accurate. You gotta understand that a lot of those people are looking for viewers. They're looking for subscribers. They're looking for ratings, whatever. And you gotta kind of take that into account. Now that's not to say that their content isn't fantastic. I am a big fan of a lot of it, believe it or not. For example, I kind of love the guy, I gotta say, but he does a couple things that drive me nuts, and that is on YouTube. If you've ever watched a gentleman by the name of Slapped Ham, he puts together some pretty awesome content of like top 10 pictures that were caught on vacation, or uh, you know 15 videos that were caught on CCTV camera or whatever. He puts out a lot of content like that, but he has his own preconceived notions when he's commenting on the stuff you're about to see, I guess based on his own experiences or whatever, or because he wants viewers. And I think he's great, but I wish he would stop doing that because it drives me nuts. And it's just it's just one of those things where it's like, dude, you're wrong. And I will admit it's kind of a guilty thing, I guess, but I'll watch his videos and go, no, that's not what it means, you idiot, or stuff like that. And I think he's a great guy, and I think his heart's in the right place, but I think he's either got preconceived notions that aren't great, or he's, looking for viewers, and it's fine for him, it's even fine for the viewers. It's not so fine for, what you're dealing with in the paranormal. I guess what I'm trying to say is that just don't let, anybody, whether they're on YouTube or TV or what have you, um, give you misconceptions or preconceived notions based on their own ideas because they're not always accurate. It's as simple as that. It just not. I can't tell you how many inaccuracies I found. And not just, from YouTube or whatever. I found inaccuracies with ghost adventurers and ghost hunters because I've actually hunted in some of the same places they've been. Okay, for it's mostly ghost adventures. I hate to say, um, but one thing I did find with ghost hunters is uh, they did an investigation at the haunted Bisman building in Mansfield, Ohio, and it is very haunted. There's no doubt about it. Been there a few times. Um, when I was with my previous team, and there's no doubt that there's stuff going on there. But when they left that investigation, it kind of gave the impression that some things were going on that weren't necessarily accurate. Okay, and the same thing with Ghost Adventures. It, they did, like, one of their first actually was at the Mansfield Reformatory, and I've hunted there, and the way they, you know, lead it is that every spirit there is evil. Every spirit there wants to mess you up and blah blah blah. And yeah, there is some of that there. Not all, not even close. And it's all about your approach too. Because I went in there, I'm like, look, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to disrespect you. You served your time. You died here. Nobody can ask more of you than that. I'm just here to communicate. And as soon as I said that, shadow figures started coming out of their cells. And when I say shadow figures, I don't mean that they were evil necessarily. They were just, that was the form they chose. I was getting EVP evidence, Class A EVP evidence. We were there with 7 or 8 other teams, and we were basically the only one getting anything. Because you catch more flies with honey. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. The only time I agree with provoking is if you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that what you're dealing with is negative, dark, evil, and you need to protect yourself. That's it. That is, other than that, there's no excuse for provoking. But what I mean is, you need to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that that's what you're dealing with. Because if you're sitting there yelling at Joe Blow, who's never done anything wrong, you just look like an asshole, and you make the rest of us look like an asshole too. But, you know, I've seems like I'm talking about this subject a lot, and I suppose I am, but it's because it's that freaking important. You know, And we have to be so responsible. And people don't get that because honestly, most people that go ghost hunting are just doing it on a whim. It's a lark, you know. They're just doing it for kicks. It's a hobby, and that annoys me. By the way, when people refer to it as a hobby, because let me tell you something: if you're in it for a hobby, you're in the fucking wrong field. Because it's not a hobby; it's a fucking calling. It's something that's in your blood, in your bones. I live and breathe the paranormal. I deal with it every day. Most people around me, unless I'm talking about it, wouldn't even know. But that's just because I've had to learn how to put kind of like blinders on, so to speak, because once they figure out I can see them, they have a tendency not to want to leave me alone. It's a little bit like if you've ever seen the movie The Frighteners. It's a little bit like that, where like he kind of zones out on some of them because he realizes if they know I can see them, they're gonna keep fucking with me. Or like another good one would be Odd Thomas, which if you have not seen Odd Thomas, I highly, highly recommend it. It is so like what I see, kind of. You know, obviously there's some details that are different, like the whole Bodak thing. I don't see Bodaks. Bodaks aren't real, but it's kind of like that, where like he pretends not to see them, you know, just because it could lead to problems. And I live like that too, you know. Hell, I my whole street has ghosts on it pretty much every night because I'm literally right down the street from the largest cemetery in Akron, Glendale Cemetery. I can literally see it from my front porch. So, you know, you have to protect yourself, but, kind of be open at the same time, I guess is what I'm getting at. Just be careful what you're opening yourself to. Because if you're looking for the negative, that's what you're going to find. And the negative will kick your ass. It's rare that you'll actually come across it, but when you do, if you don't know how to protect yourself, if you don't know how to deal with them, they can do a lot of damage. So there you go. There's your PSA for the week. All right, my pack, my tribe. That's about all the time I have. Until next time, peace out.